Hello and welcome to the weekly Asylum and Immigration Reform Recap, where I share with you 5 recent stories of interest for asylum seekers and those wanting to stay updated on immigration news. This week, we're discussing
Justice Department files federal lawsuit against Colorado challenging state sanctuary laws protecting immigrants. Secretary Rubio unveils catch-and-revoke policy targeting international students and H-1B holders for visa violations. Federal prosecutors in Minnesota double immigration-related charges following Trump administration enforcement priorities. ICE agents inspect employment records at multiple Washington D.C. restaurants, causing anxiety among owners and workers. House committees advance reconciliation bills allocating billions for immigration enforcement, border barriers, and agent hiring.
I'm Brian Manning, and I used to be an asylum officer with the government, but now, as an asylum attorney, I help immigrants all over the country to secure their future in America through asylum. All right, let's get to the news. First up,
the U.S. Justice Department has launched a federal lawsuit against Colorado, challenging several state sanctuary laws that shield immigrants from federal enforcement. The legal action targets 3 specific statutes: a 2019 law preventing local police from making ICE arrests, a 2021 measure safeguarding personal data in state databases, and a 2023 regulation limiting government involvement in immigration detention. U.S. officials argue these laws obstruct federal immigration enforcement and violate constitutional supremacy. Similar legal challenges were filed against Chicago and San Francisco. A spokesperson for Governor Polis responded that Colorado isn't a sanctuary state and values federal partnerships. This litigation follows President Trump's intensified deportation campaigns, including his Operation Aurora initiative.
And up next for update number 2.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio has announced a strict Onestrike immigration policy for temporary visa holders, declaring that the government will revoke status whenever non-citizens violate laws. This initiative specifically targets international students and H-1B professionals, with Rubio emphasizing that visa privileges aren't guaranteed rights. The announcement follows recent enforcement where ICE examined 1.3 million foreign student records, identifying approximately 6,400 matches in criminal databases. Many students faced visa terminations for minor infractions, including traffic violations or charges later dismissed. Immigration attorneys advise affected individuals to pursue legal challenges, with expert Cyrus Mehta noting that concerted legal action is needed to counter government overreach. The policy has generated concern among universities and employers of international talent.
All right, it's time for our third immigration update.
Federal prosecutors in Minnesota have substantially increased immigration-related prosecutions this year following Trump administration directives. The Minnesota U.S. Attorney's Office has filed charges against 32 defendants for illegal re-entry between February and April, nearly doubling the annual average during Trump's first term. Legal specialists observe that all U.S. attorneys, being presidential appointees, must implement administration mandates or risk resource cuts or removal. This enforcement surge reflects broader national instructions from President Trump and Attorney General Pam Bondi, who have directed federal law enforcement to prioritize immigration offenses. While prosecutors highlight cases involving immigrants with prior violent crime convictions, court documents reveal many defendants' sole violation is their immigration status. Analysts note this shift has redirected resources from other federal enforcement priorities.
By the way, if you want to stay updated on asylum and immigration reform news, then make sure to press the subscribe button and the bell icon so that you don't miss the next video. Okay, moving on, we're ready for update number 4.
Federal immigration officials visited at least 7 restaurants throughout Washington, D.C. this week, requesting employment eligibility documentation and generating fear across the industry. Department of Homeland Security agents, sometimes arriving in groups as large as 8, delivered inspection notices demanding I-9 forms for all current employees and those terminated within the past year. Restaurant proprietors reported varied approaches by officers, with some entering through multiple entrances simultaneously, while others briefly conversed with management. The operation, part of the Trump administration's wider immigration crackdown, resulted in no immediate detentions but created anxiety among workers. Several establishment owners confirmed they would comply with requirements while expressing concern about potential impacts on their staff. Industry representatives stressed that immigrants constitute the backbone of the restaurant sector, with one owner questioning, "Are you really going to deport millions of hardworking, law-abiding people? Without immigrants, there is no restaurant business."
And finally, our 5th immigration update for this week.
The House Homeland Security and Judiciary Committees have advanced reconciliation legislation allocating billions for immigration enforcement funding. The Homeland Security measure includes $46.5 billion for border infrastructure, $4.1 billion to recruit additional Border Patrol agents, and supplementary funds for surveillance technology. Along party divisions, with Republicans supporting and Democrats opposing, the Judiciary Committee approved billions for detention facilities, removal operations, and hiring 10,000 new immigration and customs enforcement personnel. The legislation also establishes new fees for immigration benefits, including a $1,000 charge for asylum applicants. Committee Chair Jim Jordan stated these resources will ensure the Trump administration has the adequate resources to enforce immigration laws in a fiscally responsible way. Simultaneously, the Trump administration released its budget, cutting nearly $900 million from English language acquisition programs and over $3.5 billion in migration assistance. Speaker Johnson aims to finalize the complete package by Memorial Day.
And that concludes this week's immigration news. If you want to win asylum in the United States, then you should call my office today. We help people all over the country, so it doesn't matter where you are. Call us now to schedule an asylum strategy session so that we can assist you in securing your future in America through asylum. Again, I'm Brian Manning, and it's an honor to serve you in your immigration journey.